what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Styles After Dark. If you're tuning in today, thank you so much for watching. There's a lot to uncover before we start this episode today. Y'all know me. I love to yap. Today's episode is going to be life goes on ... after a breakup. And this is a part of the Lonely Chapter series. This is now episode 2. And that's another thing I want to talk about with you guys today. You guys, thank you so much for the support on my last video. I think it's like at 11K views right now. Not that the numbers matter, but it's exciting for me on YouTube. Sorry, little Spotify listeners, if this is where you're listening. I'm feeling so thankful, and this really does motivate me and inspire me to keep doing what I love and, hopefully reaching people that are going through things that can relate to my videos. And it just feels so good to know that I'm not crazy. I am doing this new thing now because I love drinks. I started this podcast doing wine, and I no longer drink. I can't tell you. I think the last time I drank was like 4 months ago. It was my birthday. It was like a special occasion. It's something I'm trying to actually cut out forever. I thought it would be really cool to have a new drink every episode. And if you guys want to send me like cool pops, cool soda drinks that you've ever had before that I can go and buy, or whatever that you think would be fun for me to try, totally message me, comment it, let me know, because I would love that. So today we're going to be drinking a poppy soda. These are like very trendy right now. I'm thinking of trying all of them in the next few episodes. And also, this is not an ad. This is not an advertisement. I don't have any of those yet. This is a prebiotic soda, classic cola flavor. Prebiotics for a healthy gut, infused with apple cider vinegar, immunity sidekick, natural caffeine. So I think that's pretty cool. Anyways, I feel like when I hear the word pop, like, those people who call soda pop, can I get some pop? I feel like the first time that someone ever said that to me, I was like, yeah, from where I come from, we just call it soda. And that was wild. If you know, you know. Now, I feel like this is the definition of what I would think soda, quote unquote, pop, when someone says pop, would taste like. It's ironic I'm saying this right now because it says Poppy. The brand is called Poppy. I always answer any advice or questions that you guys send me in the DMs at the end of the video. So stay tuned for the questions I will be answering, as well as whatever advice that I'm giving through my experiences. Take it or leave it. And remember to be kind. I'm going to be vulnerable today and kind of share the recent breakup process that I went through. And, I went through the motions, I went through the feelings, I went through the stages of grief. Prior to this relationship, I did have a breakup before this, and it was my first breakup. If you've been there, especially your first one, you know how distraught it is and how you genuinely feel like the world is ending. And just comparing my first breakup to my second and how I've handled it and the growth and where I'm at in life, it just speaks volumes. How much I've changed as a person, how I handle situations, and really how mindset plays such a big role when it comes to dealing with a breakup. And I really want to help anyone who might be going through a relationship ending. This is going to be like the healing version, what that process looked like in a month, because honestly, it kind of took me a month to fully get over it. I feel like that's really short. I'm not gonna lie. I thought I was gonna be in the trenches for like 3 months. I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna last forever. Especially when like my first real breakup. If you ask anyone I know, they were like, holy moly, this woman is not gonna get through this. I want you guys, if you're going through this, to be seen and be heard, and know that you're gonna be okay. And I got you. And you're not the only one going through this or who has been through this. And that doesn't mean that the breakup is not supposed to happen in some very slight cases. And when I say slight, do not take this to be delusional, king, queen, okay? Do not. I feel like when you give someone a small, tiny chance, I've been there. You take it and you run with it. Life goes on. Breakups suck. Breakups happen. Breakups feel like they're the end of the world. So, about like 6 weeks ago, I went through a breakup. I was in the trenches, y'all. Like the first week, though, okay? I would say that this process took me a month, and there was a lot of things I did to get where I am right now in this current time, thriving, better, positive, feeling amazing, feeling like this was meant to happen, and not spiraling into my thoughts, not staying stuck in the past, not dwelling, not doing any of the things that my past self would do. And I think it's really normal to get caught up in these emotions, to get caught up in the breakup. I wanted to name this episode Life Goes On because when you're in a breakup, the world is ending. But that doesn't mean that it has to be that way. And even though it feels that way, you physically are not well, girl, boy, life goes on. And when I was going through this, it sucked. It really was just like, oh my gosh, I just want to rot in my bed. I don't want to talk to anyone. I don't want to smile. I don't want to do my podcast. I don't want to sit here and, go do someone's hair because I'm a hairdresser, or pretend like everything's okay because I'm not okay. Sometimes experiences help you handle things better the next time. And so I'm sure that plays a big role into how I've managed this breakup. But if you can save yourself the time and the pain and just try and do these things, if this is your first breakup or even your third, whatever, it then do it. So I remember during my first breakup, I my family really knew I was not well. And I remember I went straight into therapy. I went to family, which I never did. People like my dad, my grandma, my therapist, my aunt, they all gave me so much validation through that hard time. All of them pretty much saying the same, telling me that a heartbreak has the same effects as grieving someone. When you're going through a breakup, it is like going through the four stages of grief when you actually lose someone, like when someone passes away. If you don't have anyone who can tell you that, I hope you feel seen and heard with this, because it is like that and it does feel like that. And that is completely valid. And I want you to know that everything you feel is always valid, but that doesn't mean that you should just spiral and not control how you're going to deal with those emotions. So the four stages of grief are denial, anger, grieving, and acceptance. And if that's not correct, you can come at me in the comments, but be nice about it. And once I cover that, I really want to go into the actual healing process. These stages can go back and forth. So you can be in denial and then one day be in anger and then be back in denial and then you can be depressed. I'm going to talk about the weeks and also that first week versus that second week, the third week, the fourth week. And also, as we all know, the first day after the breakup, because God bless that day. That day is the worst day out of all of them. All right. If you know, you know. This is the only day that you get a pass, and a little bit of the first week. This is your pass to basically go insane. Not literally, okay? Like, no one's gonna judge you for what you say, do. At least my friends didn't. And thank God I had people like that who allowed me to be that way. I was so sad and miserable to the point where I felt like I didn't want to get out of bed. I just wanted to rot. Honestly, leave me alone. I want to rot in my bed. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to do any of that. But surprisingly, I did. I still felt all those emotions and I still rotted, but we'll get into that when we talk about the healing process. The first week, honestly, is like just not good. You are probably so in the denial stage. And even like the second week, too, I was so in denial. I was like, no, no way. And you have the what ifs, and especially if you have like an anxious attachment style like me, you are going to be thinking like the worst case scenario. You are going to be so in your thoughts, overthinking, was it my fault? Was it what I said? Was it what I didn't do? Was it like, am I just not enough? And that is probably normal if you know what I'm talking about. If you know you're like an anxious attachment style person, that's typically how anxious people react after a breakup. Again, it's just the first week. So you have a lot of passes during this week. But at the same time, I really want to stress as I was writing my notes for this episode, I actually went to church the first week of the breakup. And of it was awesome because the message that the pastor spoke that weekend was something that really resonated to me. And I was looking at my notes and found it while writing the notes for this episode, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Do not judge your life and put a period where God is putting a comma. Don't make the problem your identity. I feel like sometimes when we're going through a breakup, we let ourselves, because it's so easy to have a negative mindset, and it's so much easier to be miserable because it takes a lot to condition yourself to be more positive. If you're anything like me, and especially through my past two breakups, I almost will like make the breakup my identity. Like, oh, poor me. Like, you just want to feel sorry for yourself. And that's why we drown so much in the past, and we drown ourselves in this what if, like the what ifs. That at the end of the day is what doesn't keep you from moving forward. And when he said that, it kind of opened my eyes. And it's cliche, but you kind of have to really take those like quotes and establish them to your mindset, put them in your mind, because I was like, dang. I was like, I feel like I do make my breakup my personality, and that's all I wanted to talk about. You can only do that for so long. Yes, you are going through a hard time. Yes, you have lost someone that meant the world to you, and you lost someone. You didn't just lose someone, you lost someone who possibly built a future with, that you had envisioned with in your future. And even worse, sometimes you might be living with that person. You probably share a marriage together, kids, families, and like things can get very complicated and messy, and it just brings more attachment, and it makes things a lot harder to let go. That doesn't mean just because of those things that you stay with someone. I feel like having real friends and having people who are going to slap you in the face, not literally, and be like, Sophia, wake out of it. These are the facts. Get your head out the booty, okay? You need that. You need to get out of your head sometimes. Everyone's situation is different, and no, it does not just take a month to get over someone. My recent relationship that had ended was very short term, but I do want to say I've had people surrounding me that have a lot of self-worth and very high confidence, and they know their value, they know their worth, and I've seen them get through breakups like nothing, whether it was very long term or very short term, because of their mindset and because they are in control of their thoughts and their mind, and they know their value, they know their worth. And I felt like this breakup, I really unlocked that with myself, and that has never happened to me before. It's always taken me months and months to get over something, and maybe a year, or just going back to old toxic habits, old toxic ways. And because of that, I've gone back to toxic situations. I've gone back to people who didn't see my worth. I've gone back to people who didn't see my value. So I just want to say, I really do feel like if you take some of the things from this episode today, you will be in a somewhat decent place, at least by a month or two. But you really need to apply yourself. Denial. Oh, I love being delusional. That's my favorite characteristic trait. Wait, I don't know if that made sense. Whatever. You know what I mean. Anger, especially if someone cheated on you, did you dirty, lied to you, things ended messy, they hurt you really bad, or even if it ended healthy, the anger stage, honestly, I don't hate the anger stage. kind of love it because at least I'm not being delusional. And depression. Depression's the worst one. So when I was in the denial stage, a lot of that can look like, was the relationship really that bad? Were we really that different? Maybe they made a mistake. I was definitely in that stage the first 2 weeks. You don't want to stay in that denial stage too long. Like, again, validate yourself, give yourself grace, but at the same time, because I was in it too, at the end of the day, I had to be strong and give myself the facts. And sometimes I feel the reason we stay in this stage is because we don't want to think of the bad things. We don't want to think that maybe this relationship really wasn't meant to be. And I feel like if you have low confidence, which I've been there, and I feel like I can now proudly say that I'm in the high confidence. Take it or leave it. Your negative mindset might be, I'm not enough. It was what I said or did. Did I try hard enough? The voices in your head are a lie, and it's your job to silence them. The ways you want to train your thought process in this stage is with more high confidence thoughts, okay? With facts. You want to come in with good thoughts. You want to replace those thoughts. Ask your friends or family members if you need to, hey, what are some of the things that you know were the issues of this person? Because it takes two to tango, baby. It wasn't just your fault, it was their fault too. And I'm really guilty of blaming myself and thinking that I'm the problem. Maybe it was the way I grew up, or my people pleasing. If you're a people pleaser, you can tend to put the blame on yourself in situations like this when you're going through breakups with friendships or relationships. I want to tell you that you need to fake it till you make it, okay? If you have to fake the thoughts, oh well, but keep doing it. Especially if you feel like you tried so hard in the relationship and you gave it your best, and let's say that person broke up with you, especially if that person broke up with you, sweetie, if anyone even puts themselves in a position to lose you, why do you want them? That is low confidence. If you really value yourself and you love yourself, you are not going to want to be with someone who does not choose you and does not see your value and your worth. You are the full package. You should only want to be with someone who sees you in the eyes that you see yourself. And if you don't see yourself worthy of love and worthy of someone who literally would never put themselves in the position to lose you, then that's why we need to work on that. Even though I was going through a breakup, even though that, it hurt and it sucked, I had a level of self worth that I didn't have before in previous relationships ending. At the end of the day, I deserve someone who chooses me. I am amazing. I am so beautiful. I am the whole package. And that is what you need to tell yourself. Don't ever think that someone leaving decreases your value, that it means that you are not enough, because most times, more than not, they're the problem. They're the reason. Baby, you're too hot. No. If you're someone who is doing that, I've been there and I see you and I'm sorry, but that is not true. Those are lies. The voices in your head are a lie and they are lying to you. And I have let in the past those negative thoughts consume me, but I have chosen one, God, and I know God would never want me to feel that way. And two, and two, I have chosen myself. Choose yourself. Love yourself enough to know that you are incredible and one of a kind. If you depend on other people to choose you, give you that validation that you're enough, anytime that person that's giving you that validation leaves, you are going to be empty, you're going to be alone, and you will be you will feel worthless. So we cannot give another person that power. And if you have, you need to get that power back. Giving that power to yourself, you need to train yourself in this denial stage. This is what's going to build you. This is going to give the foundation through the weeks, through the months, that power. Keep going. Keep replacing those thoughts. And by the third or fourth week, if you do that, if you're building that confidence, if you're building that worth, that value for yourself, if you've lost it, even if it doesn't feel, even if you don't believe it, I promise you, in a month, if you just keep on going, it's going to build and build. Things take time, and you have to pour into yourself. You have to water your plant. You have to water your flower. Plant does not grow in a day. If you plant a seed and you water it, do you wake up, go outside, and the plant is just grown? No, you have to keep watering it, sometimes weeks, depending on the plant, where it's at, how fast it goes, how slow it goes. You have to keep showing up for it. And over time, that plant, that flower grows and it blossoms and it becomes so beautiful. And so you need to see it in that light, in that way. And I can't stress it enough because I used to be in that way, and that's why I am so passionate when it comes to this subject, and it goes so much deeper than just a breakup. All goes back to you. Yes, I was in denial for a little bit, but through that, I did what I needed to do. By the third or fourth week, no more in Delulu, BB, and neither will you be. Okay, so next, anger. So my anger stage, milk it, baby. Milk that cow. Because the anger stage, believe those thoughts to a certain extent. Because if you're anything like me, Latina girl, some of them thoughts can be a little cuckoo. But for the most part, they were facts. The anger stage really allows you to see the other person in their real true selves, the things that they did wrong in the relationship, the things that they had you messed up on. You got me twisted, baby. The sass is real right now. But yeah, hold on to those things that come up. When you go back to that denial stage or that grieving process, when you're really sad, sis, remember the things that they did to you. Remember the things that weren't okay. Remember the gaslighting. Remember the way they mistreated you. Boy, if they cheated on you, honey, we don't go back. Sis, no. Mother Sophia, Sister Sophia says no. Sister Sophia Styles says no. You guys, I have gone through cheating, okay? Unfortunately. But I would, mm. That was Sophia before self-love Sophia. Also, when it comes to the anger stage, you want to make sure that you don't completely just stay in this stage, because sometimes anger is an emotion at the end of the day. And so if you just stay angry and you don't forgive the other person, you're also not moving forward. So don't get too caught up in the anger stage, boo boo. Pookie. Grieving stage. You need to let yourself feel the emotion. When you want to cry, you cry. Let it all out. Watch Sex in the City. Watch all the sad romance movies like The Notebook. Do not let your emotions stay inside. You need to cry it out as much as you can, because the more you get it out, the more you will heal. And the more you just shove those emotions down and down again, they're gonna stay in there, and we don't want that. We want to push all of it out. Cry to the sad songs. Girl, I have my songs. Like, should I make a playlist? One thing I did was journal it out through the grieving process. This was like the last steps that I took, all of my overthinking. And I went so hardcore into my soul, my mind, body, and soul. Like, I was going in my notebook, scrabbling, and being like, okay, I felt this way. Why? And why did I feel this way? Okay, because of this and that. And what does this and that come to? Well, this and that comes from this insecurity. And then because they did this to me, this made me feel this way. And because they made me feel this way, that made me feel so low, and that made me feel worthless, and that made me feel like I'm crazy or whatever the case might be. But I feel like you have to get it out. I almost was able to see, one, the craziness of my mind, and two, if you just go on and dig deeper, it will just uncover so many things that you might have not even realized connected. I think I cried too. Like when I did the journaling, I'm pretty sure I had cried for about 4 hours. And that is the last time I have cried because that did the work. And I'm not saying it will for everyone or it will for you, because that was around like the 3 to 4 month mark, or the 3 to 4 week mark. I felt like I got it all out, and it was almost an epiphany at that point. And that is where I found my acceptance after that. And I feel like a lot of the things that I did during those 4 stages got me to acceptance. Now we can dive into the actual healing so that you can move forward during this breakup and after this breakup. Let's reflect. If you're doing it right, breakup should always be a congratulations. They should allow you to grow and really reflect on where you went wrong, and also how you can grow and learn from it. Whatever kind of breakup you're going through can really be a beautiful process, and you can change and grow in such a new way and meet different people, see things in a different way, maybe discover things about yourself that you didn't know. And yeah, one of the things that really helped me in the beginning stages of my breakup, like the first day, the first week, was I had amazing friends to help me through the process. You guys, my friends showed up for me so much. They validated me when I couldn't because I was in the gutter. And surround yourself with friends who are going to, be there for you and cry with you. Like, I remember my friends and I went to lunch the day after, showing me the love and support that I truly needed. Don't shy away from that. I know it's going to be so easy to want to stay in your bed and not move for weeks. And I'm not saying that, I didn't have an appetite. I just wanted to be in bed, but I didn't let myself, because my first breakup, I had gotten so skinny. I let myself literally hit my lowest point. Someone once told me, if you can learn through other people's mistakes rather than going through it yourself to learn it, then do so. And I loved that, because it's like, if your friends are going through some shit and they're discovering what they learned from those mistakes, try and learn from them before putting yourself in that. I was like, I'm not about to do that again. So I decided to be in control and told myself, listen, I don't want to eat, but I'm going to eat. I'm going to force myself to eat. I ate as much as I could. Treat yourself. Literally do it. Eat whatever you want. The first the first 3 weeks, I was a princess. I was loving up on myself. I was like, I'm going to get a cinnamon roll. I'm going to get strawberries. If I can't eat, but I can just eat fruit, I'm going to get myself fruit. I'm going to eat whatever I want, because that is me. And I'm going to do that. Okay. And no one's going to tell me anything about it. So do what you got to do. You're going to have friends for different things. I have friends who just show me love and support, but then I have friends who are going to also be like, Sophia, it's time to get over it. Like, I remember around the 3rd week, I was doing that thing where I was making the breakup my identity just a little bit. My friends deadly looked me in the eyes and they were like, Sophia, get over it, because I was talking about it so much. You need those friends that are going to be like, sister, it's time. After that day, that's when I really woke up. Like, I swear, I don't think they knew they were going to do it, because sometimes people say that. You're like, well, screw you. You're rude. But no, I did. That comment, I was like, oh my God, am I being that person that won't shut up about the damn breakup? Because I don't want to be that person. And don't be that person. Be self-aware, okay? King and queen, be self-aware. And again, don't be stuck in your misery. Some of my friends might just let me stay miserable because they're too nice, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the friend that you want to go to when you need a little bit of support on a bad day. So another thing that I was reminding myself, because I know that it takes two to tango, and just because someone hurt you, just because something didn't work out, doesn't mean that you have to hold anger and hatred in your heart. I can sit here and be mad at the situation, at the person, or what did I learn from this relationship? Because now I can tell you what I learned from that relationship. I learned what I need now. I learned my needs. I learned my non negotiables. And that is so important. And maybe sometimes you don't learn anything too drastic, but maybe like every relationship, every experience teaches you something. Even if it didn't end good, even if it ended bad, you can always take one thing. If we just focus on what people are doing wrong and what they did wrong to us, how they wronged us, it's gonna keep us stuck. Another thing that I'm really good at is feeling like a failure. I'm almost too self aware sometimes where I tell myself that I am literally the problem, but luckily I've really worked on that. And this is not rejection, this is redirection. This is literally an accomplishment because you are one step closer to finding the right person for you. Everyone has gone through it, and no one is looking at you like that. And if they are, screw them. How sad and lonely are you that you think someone going through a breakup means that they're not enough or they failed at life? And if someone has ever told you that, they're just miserable inside. Be cheesy, do the cheesy things, read the cheesy quotes, take yourself out on a date, do things alone, do the things they do in the movies because it made me feel better. Shout out to my friend Ivan. I know he won't care if I say this, but I remember we were on FaceTime and I was going through the early stages of my breakup, and I had gotten my favorite Rocky Road ice cream, got the cone for it, and I put Sex in the City on, and I was on FaceTime with two of my friends, and he was making fun of me. He was like, "Oh my god, here comes Sophia." That like literally acting like she's in the movies going through a breakup. She literally thinks she's like that girl. Yes, baby, I am. And guess what? Doing all of that made me feel so much better. It really did. In fact, I 10 out of 10 recommend doing that because it was a slay. If I ever go through another breakup again, I'ma do it again. This recent breakup, I really wanted to just take matters into my own hands and come out so much better. And I feel like we should all try and do that. What you say to yourself during this process matters, what you do with your thoughts, how you talk to yourself. If you don't have friends to get you through this, if you are not the closest to your family, honestly, that's even better because my first breakup looked a lot like that. My first breakup, my friends didn't want to be around me because I was in a very bad place. I was a different person and I wasn't the most fun to be around. My family wasn't, my family that I'm really close to is in Seattle, and they couldn't be there for me. I was very lonely. And honestly, sometimes you have to hit rock bottom to really truly discover yourself and to really depend on yourself, because at the end of the day, the only person you're ever going to be guaranteed to have in your life is yourself. So that relationship needs to be so strong, so powerful, because you need to be able to pick up the pieces and pick up yourself when anything leaves your life, whether that's family, whether that's friends, whether that's loss. Of course, a support system is great, but I'm just talking to the people who maybe might not have that. Now is the time to depend on yourself and build that strength. And I've had to do it before. First question that we had is, you know how you know when it's over, but you can't bring yourself to end it. I feel like this is the time that we have to really see if someone is meeting our needs, and we have to remind ourselves that we come first. And I don't know if you're a people pleaser, but sometimes we stay in relationships for too long because we don't want to hurt the other person, or we're scared it's going to be the wrong decision. What's meant for you is meant for you. And if you and that person are meant to be together, maybe just not right now. And I know a lot of people don't believe in like wrong person or right person, wrong time, But at the end of the day, whatever is going to happen is going to happen. Choose you, be selfish, and do what's best for you. If you know in your heart and you have that thought, those doubts, you know it's not right, do yourself the favor and do that person the favor. Love yourself enough to know that there is something that's better for you. Or maybe right now this isn't best. It can be really hard. I empathize with that. But at the same time, we can't waste any more time staying in places where our needs are not being fulfilled. I wish you luck on that. It can be really hard, but you'll thank yourself later. Once you get through the breakup and time goes on, it just gets so much easier. And you really see, wow, that person wasn't meant to be in my life. And, me and that person weren't compatible. And then then you really can move on. And at least Advice on navigating avoiding early intimacy when dating someone. Okay, I love this one because I am the kind of girl who does not kiss on the first date. I do not get intimate with someone until they're my boyfriend. I don't know if it's you mean avoiding it because you don't have the composure to avoid it, or if you mean by the guy is being more pressured. So let's just dive into both real quick. Someone is pressuring, girl, know your boundaries. And no guy, I'm sorry, but that is such a red flag to me. If someone is pressuring you or not being patient with your boundaries when it comes to being intimate, that's a red flag. I feel like you need to stand your ground and don't ever let anyone push you into something you're not comfortable with. If you meant it the other way, I don't know about y'all, but I'm a lover girl and I already know myself. And this is where you just have to be strong because I know that I don't want to give that person access to my body. And again, I don't want to offend anyone. I respect whatever you do with your body. Intimacy is so important to me and there's so much value in it. And I really only want to share that with someone who I'm very involved with and have an emotional connection with and see a future with. I just remind myself that if I were to get intimate with someone in the early stages of dating, am I willing to put my emotional well-being at risk if this does not work out and we don't even end up becoming boyfriend and girlfriend? And now I've gotten really intimate with this person and emotionally, not only emotionally connected to this person, but intimately as well. And so I just remind myself that, is it worth that? Am I willing to pay the price? The answer is no. I ain't. And I'm sorry. And it's almost better when you wait. If it builds it up. And once you do, it's like, okay, slay. I hope that was good advice. I hope that helped. Okay, the next one is, what's your best form of self-care post breakup? Literally treating myself with anything I want. If I want a massage, I'm gonna go get a massage. If I want to go buy that shirt, I'm gonna buy that shirt. If I want to feed myself a certain dish, I'm gonna do it. I'm going to love myself harder. When I feel low, that is my signal to love myself even more. Not giving up on me. That is self-care. Is still, even in the stages of a breakup or ending a talking stage with someone, when I feel not like myself, I don't want to let myself sink anymore. I don't want to do that. I'm going to show up for myself, put on makeup, even though I just cried 20 minutes ago, because I know I'm going to feel good about myself. I'm going to do my hair, work out, have my body and my mental mind feel good. There's not a one answer for this. Loving myself. And that's what it's about. It's pouring into yourself. But if I had to choose one, it would have to be taking a shower, ordering, this sounds so lame, but ordering my favorite takeout and putting on one of my favorite shows. Be all snuggled up with my pillow and be cuddled up and watch my favorite show. Of course, I'm going to do that. That's what I'm going to do. That wraps up the questions and we're going to wrap up this video. There's only so much I can say in one video. If you guys want me to go further into certain subjects when it comes to certain breakups, certain relationships, whether it's toxic, whether it's healthy, Let me know. Thank you guys for your support. Thank you guys for tuning in. And remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't, to stay updated. Remember to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. The links will be down below, and also follow on Spotify if you're listening to Spotify. I hope you guys have a beautiful week. As always, remember, love yourself, show up for yourself, be kind to people. I love you, my little stylers, forever and always, and have a good rest of your week. Bye.